Let's welcome our ladies. Give them a round of applause, guys. Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
We are fashionably late. That's what we do, right? That's what we do. We just play hard to get, you know? Come on. It is an honor, you guys. For those of you that are leaving, it's your loss, okay? Because this right here is the backbone of this industry. Yes, these amazing women. Yes, come on in. Come on in. Sit wherever you like. Yes. Awesome. Cool. Thank you, sexy stranger guy.
That's right.
So I'm Shannon Wiseman Laub. That's my sexy, awesome husband. I don't like to tell him that to his face because it gets a little weird and awkward, you know what I mean? But he is. You guys, this is the 4th year I've been here, and I have met these women either this year, the year before, the year before, the year before, and I am amazed at the power that they have inside of them and the entrepreneurship and the silent backbone that they create within this industry and making sure when the storm happens. So I want to just go through and everyone introduce yourselves, where you're from, what company you're with. Yeah, let's start there.
I'm Gina Del Medico. I'm with GLD Management.
Gina, speak up just a little bit, babe.
Gina Del Medico, GLD Management. I've been in the industry for about 20 years.
Autumn Wusak, Storm Ventures Group. I've been in the industry since 2008. Worked with Anthony for a very long time. I was his national sales recruiter for about 8 years. Left for a couple of years. We had a little argument and just thought I could do this on my own. And then came back to SVG. It was actually over at the Miami conference 2 years ago.
Molly Mortensen, NMC Exteriors from Minnesota. I grew up in construction, and I've been with NMC Exteriors 8 years now.
Hey, Stacey.
Hi, Kim Reed. I'm the owner of Next Gen Storm Leads. I've been in the industry for about 8 years, and that's it.
I'm Angela Delmedico, CEO and founder of Elevate Consulting Group. I have been working with this amazing industry for about 15 years.
Hi, I'm Tracy Lapine, National Contractor Sales Leader for Owens Corning. I started in the industry in the mid-90s, and I'm out of Denver, Colorado.
Brittany with Pit Crew Roofing. I'm a licensed qualifier in the state of Florida. We have a couple offices there. I've been in the business since 1998 when I started storm chasing with my dad as a teenager.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Stacy Dant with Spartan Restoration. This is my 11th year. 9 of those were storm, and now we're focusing local.
I love it. I don't know if y'all recognized anything, but no offense, I love all of you men out there, but you ladies kind of underplayed your value in this industry, and it seems sometimes that there's a diatribe of longness of men, like they just wanted to like let everybody know. So thank y'all for, because it's not about us, right? Like it's not about us. It's about like what are we going to do when the storm comes, right? And so that's kind of my question to you. So what do you do when the storm comes?
Well, I actually had a couple people yesterday tell me that they wish we would have had a breakout session on, hey, a storm hits. What are the first steps in ramping up? Hey, Paul, I see you. And building an office. Gina and I actually worked together for how many? A lot of years. And that's primarily what we did. You know, there was a storm that hit. I mean, at one point we had probably 12 offices throughout the country, and we were the two people that it was from finding the office, to recruiting sales reps, to getting the phone set up, finding crews. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, but it's all speed to market, right? Because if you're not already situated in that market, there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm gonna have Gina kind of talk about just from the licensing and all, like.
Well, one of the first steps after you get an office is you need to get licensed within your city and counties, and so you're able to pull permits and build the roofs that everyone's selling. Autumn and I probably worked together about 10 years, starting these offices, opening them up with Anthony, scouting, building the teams, ramping up production, ramping up accounting, ramping up the sales teams. It's a lot of work. A lot goes into that. You're on the road a lot. It's a hustle.
Well, and for me too, is I would be in a different office, but it's all about placing ads, right? So I think her and Anthony would be the first people, I guess, boots on the ground, if you will. While I'm in the other office, placing sales ads and starting to get resumes, filtering through the resumes, setting up interviews, and then I would come in once they actually had an office and had everything kind of taken care of, and would start the interview process. I may, some markets I had, for example, Arizona, when that hailstorm hit, we had a lot of guys that wanted to come from our Midwest office because it hit in late October and there weren't a lot of guys selling through the winter. So we'd bring a couple of our experienced guys, hire new guys, but it really is that speed to market, right? I mean, and that's to tie it into SVGU. Right now, I know the Midwest, nobody's out selling roofs right now. So this is the best time to get your guys trained in. So that way, when a storm does hit, you're not wasting any time trying to get them up to speed on what needs to be done. They're just, right? A storm hits, they're out there knocking doors and doing what they need to be doing.
And we've pretty much have all the bases covered, from suppliers to marketing. So what are your other guys' takes on when the storm hits? Brittany, do you have anything? I just called her out. She just looked at me like, what?
You did just call me out.
Yeah.
So I'm in Florida, and it's very difficult to get licensed in Florida. So the first things first is make sure you are actually working with a licensed qualified roofer in Florida. But assuming that happens, then we just go in with our wrapped vehicles and we canvass and door knock. So that's definitely a way to strategize and get yourself good in the marketplace.
Yeah. Who else has something to offer for when the storm comes? Stacey, you're looking at me and I'm going to call you out.
I'll take it. We focus on high volume and speed. So our guys are out in the streets as fast as possible. We have our mapping systems. We know where the hail is. And we're focused on setting as many appointments and getting as many inspections and as many yard signs up as fast as possible.
I love that.
For me, it's all about preparation. So making sure that the team is organized, communications in play, phones are all online, text message groups are set, maps are set, areas are set, canvassers are out. How are we going to tackle it? How many people are going to be out? How many leads are we going to go after? Making sure that we're organized, paperwork's in line, follow-ups coming up afterwards, and then making sure our entire office is set from the front end person, making sure we're meeting with production, going over how many crews are available, what's the timing. Let's start giving some anticipations for scheduling, making sure that we're covered, informing our supplier that a big storm is coming up. We want to make sure we have enough of all of our product lines available for our company to be up first for when we need them.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I do.
Right.
And for me, obviously, when you guys know a storm's coming,
First of all,
give
she
me a
does it
call.
all. First
yeah,
of all,
give me a call.
I do
Let me get you the
everything.
maps.
Kim
Let's
Reed
get-
will do it.
Let's get set up, and I can make some things happen for you guys.
Yeah, I love it.
What is all of this without an online presence? So we help you build your brand. We help you get those websites up. All of your print collateral, your graphic design, your branding across the board, your social media, getting the leads, working with traditional marketing, telemarketing, and doing your online marketing. Backing up everything that you're doing internally and making that look really good.
Yeah, I love that.
And so for me, from the manufacturing perspective, it's a little different. Even with all the technology and the hail maps, et cetera, contractors still want confidence and trust on what areas they're working. So I have to be very careful. I don't share any information with other contractors about what areas are good, where the big storms are. I just focus on making sure they have the right products when they need them and the right tools to sell in the home.
Love it. You know, we, for those of you that stayed, thank y'all. Did my husband pay y'all? No? Y'all are all good? But we had a conversation before we got on here, and we wanted to make it clear, like, we're not trying to come up here and like be like, oh, like we're women and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. But what we have is this tribe, right? That it's special. Like, we understand it. Like, my husband is in the industry. We have a roofing company. I get it, right? Like, I understand it. And saying that, what do you ladies feel is a misconception about just what our roles are, like, in this industry?
Well, Molly and I had a conversation the other day because, and I felt like, and I would joke, I was like the professional babysitter when it came to sales reps. You know, there's a lot of companies that they have their sales managers that are out in the field, they have their field trainers, but they, you know, and for a sales recruiter, I was always in the office, and I was the go-to person for all the sales reps. So it was from their pay request, if they needed shirts, if they needed hats or business cards, or they just wanted to sit there and complain and cry. And but I knew who was working, who wasn't working, but it was, you know, and holding them accountable. But I feel that women in this industry do have, they deal with the sales team a lot differently than the men do. Yeah. And a lot of times I do feel that we help a lot with a retention standpoint.
Yeah. I know that there's a roof climber in this group. Brittany, I'm sorry, I keep calling you out because you, like this lady right here, you'll climb it, you'll scale it, you'll do it. Yes, will you speak about that, like in how you kind of got in the industry with your family? Sorry, I called you out.
So my father, when I was growing up, my first job was to catch the other end of the tape measure. So he would hold the smart end of the stick and I would catch the dumb end of the stick. But I think just being on the roofs gave me a lot of confidence and a heads up on the other women in the field. So for the guys out here, if you can take your daughters out into the roofing world and just show them that they can do it, it turns them into extremely confident women when they're older, and the ability that if a guy wants to talk to me about a roof, I can go toe to toe with him all day long. You know?
I mean, I've seen, my husband likes to do this funny thing where he'll like take a selfie when he's on the roof. I'm like, dude, like you're not the most agile person. Like, why are you doing this, right? And like for real, like, I mean, I love you, baby, but, right? And like, I feel like us women, like we were born to like get up on that like roof. I was like, let me up there. Yeah.
Once you get up there, like your ability to understand the roof is just as good as the guy's ability to do it. Unfortunately, in today's society, most of the girls growing up just aren't chucked onto the roof. They're told to go back into the office and work. And don't get me wrong, we're great in the office, but we're great in the field too.
I think we're just great. Yeah. Yes. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap.
And I want to also like add to that. I mean, women are trusted in this industry. So, you know, and I actually got into it in commercial sales. But when I was going out there, you know, and there's a lot of, I know, Crest and Interstate, but there's a lot of women that were $1 million producers that get out there and kill it every day. And I do that, I feel like women do have an advantage, right? Because if a man comes and knocks on your door, or you have this woman that's getting out there climbing on the roof, 90% of the time, even dealing with, let's say, property managers or just like those secretary, they're trusted. So highly recommend getting a couple women or females on your sales team because they will crush it.
And I just want to interject real quick because, Kim, I'm going to call you out because this woman right here is like like I look up to her as a woman in this industry, not just as an amazing human being and mother and wife, but the way that you juggle this. Like, what is your insights? Like, how, like you do it all. Like, I get leads from you, like, what is your insight in this like matriarchal position that you have in this industry?
My insight is, God, you
I
put
know.
me on the spot,
She didn't
Shannon,
wanna be
thanks.
called
I
out.
really didn't. You know, I just look at it like this. I stay focused, I keep my head down, I try to make a difference for everybody in my life, whether it's the homeowners, the kids, my clients, and I just do right. And as long as you're always trying and just staying on the right path, things happen. So you work hard and you keep it all together, and it just all comes together.
Yeah.
That's my motto, and that's just what I do.
Yeah.
You know, make things happen.
And you, something that yes, give her a clap. Something I've learned from you and like my husband as well is like that staying in connection, like no matter what, like you're answering the call.
Oh, you know, definitely. It's all about communication. Yeah. You need to talk to people daily, weekly,
Yes.
More than once a week. I mean, communication is key to everything.
Yep.
So keeps the glue, keeps it there.
That. Yeah.
I think going back to what Adam was saying when winning the storm, how to approach the storm. I think many of us here can attest to the organizational side, the paperwork, kind of the big picture of the storm. I think a lot of times it's a shit show, right? In the office, the storm comes, every single male is amped up, they're jacked up, they're on monsters, they're running around, they're going for a sale, but they forget like how to communicate and stay organized, right? So I think a lot of us women can always back up and say like,
Louder.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of us back up and say, let's just take a minute. This is our direction. This is where we need to be. This is how we can stay organized, communicate together, because at the end of the day, this has to make it through a whole sales process, to the whole workflow, to the production side, to a happy customer. So it's always like stepping back and making sure that we're doing the right thing, the right way, the most organized way possible.
Yeah. Love that.
Well, I want to add to that because this goes back to Gina. I ran the sales side of it, right? And so we had our sales manager. I was in the office, but it's just that you have to have that flow, right? It's all about from, marketing to when the guys go out and turn in that job. She would chew my ass out all the time because guys wouldn't turn their files in correctly, or they didn't have enough photos, or they weren't doing stuff the way that, she needed it in order to build the jobs. I mean, that's huge in running a successful company is you have to communicate, right, because if guys aren't doing stuff the right way and their job's sitting there and then you can't build it, production and sales have to work hand in hand, and Gina would yell at me a lot for me to yell at all the guys.
Like my husband's only one man. I mean, he takes on like 80,000 roles. But we started to notice in our company, like when he was taking time away to retrain new people to come in, and then they would go. It's like, okay, well, we have SVG, so you can go. Like you already have the training system to do that. So then my husband could do what he needed to do. So then we were like making the most of the time,
Well, and it's all about accountability. You have to hold your sales reps and teams accountable, right? Because I have a lot of owners that come to me and they ask me a lot of questions, but with SVGU, it only works if you hold your team accountable. Your sales reps aren't always going to, you think they're going to sit there and watch all the training videos or they're going to do all this stuff. No, the only way is but they're going to call you a million times. And if you're an owner and you answer your phone and you're always there, answering, making it easy for them, you have to have systems in place. And whether it be incentivize them or penalize them, but you really do. It's not. You have to have a system, I guess.
I just want to skip topics really quick. I want to know, like on a manufacturer level, like where are we right now? Like what's going on in the industry? Yeah, I called you out. I'm calling these ladies out. They did not want to be called out, just so you know.
If you look at the industry, thank you. So for 2018, the roofing industry, when you look at asphalt shingles, was significantly down from 2017. 2017, the industry across the country, all manufacturers, there was 144 million squares of roofing that was shipped and installed. In 2018, that number was 136 million squares because it was such a down storm year. So while storm or weather-related events still make up for anywhere from 25 to 30% of the market, there still is a significant amount of opportunity in retail sales as well.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about the industry. We believe 2019 is going to be relatively flat, probably, unless, big storms hit. So that's a little bit about the industry as a whole.
So what's been your experience here at Win the Storm within Corning?
Yes, so for Owens Corning, it's a great opportunity for me to connect with a lot of contractors at one time. I enjoy attending the breakouts, learning more about the industry, because my goal every day I wake up thinking, what can I do to help my contractors grow profitable business? And so the more I'm educated, the better resource I can be, for my partners and contractors.
Yeah, I love that. Does anybody else want to expand on that? Or I can move on. Awesome, I'll move on. All right. Marketing standpoint, Angela, what is, for right now, what do companies need to do to get seen, heard, talked about, clients?
First, what Molly said is so on point. So those of you that are already in the storm damage restoration markets, there's a lot you can be doing in advance to be prepared for the storm. There's still a lot of people that wait literally until it hits to call their marketing company and say, hey, I need this, this, and that. So we like to work right now, this is February, get started right now, have the strategy in place, and then you're ready for the storm market. Retail the same. Marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. So if you're in this for the long haul, 5, 10, 15 years, you want to build your brand, you want to be doing all those different things, whether it's lead generation, branding, growing your company in your local markets, and then being built to scale all the time. It's not just a one-time thing.
And they can contact you, this is what you do.
Yeah, this is what I do, and there's a lot of marketing companies out there. I'm not the only one. So I also help a lot of you sort through the BS and the bullshit contracts. I have a good BS meter. They're a dime a dozen, and educating clients, I work with other industries as well, is something that I'm really passionate about. So you are spending your money wisely, you're going with the correct strategy based on your goals, taking a minute to regroup when everyone's all ramped up, and doing the right thing. I also think this industry is a bit behind other industries in, you can agree with that, in marketing. So one of my goals is to help you all, amp that game up a bit.
Love it. I love it. I love that each of these women bring a different part of the industry. You guys literally create from the ground up, what's going on. So wherever my sexy husband is, sexy husband alert, sexy husband, there he is.
Did he quit?
No, he's right. I sexy husband alert.
The joke is that Autumn
It's
usually
very
quits.
rare I get to be the one that's over here calling the shots. I ain't gonna lie. He's Italian. I know my role.
Sit down, John.
Hey. Ooh, this is fun. I could do this all. This is actually how much? Okay, I love you, baby. All right, so I want to open the floor up for questions. Like I said, these women all have something special, different to offer in this industry. So opening up the floor for questions.
Raise your hand if you have a question. I'll bring the mic to you.
Not all
There.
at once.
Hold on.
Yes.
Right over here.
You like that? Is this over yet? Am I done?
John, I can barely hear you.
All right, you can stand up and give them your name and city.
No,
Sorry, I lost my voice
I'm
this weekend. I don't know how.
Hi, you guys are awesome. Jason Guerrero, Warriors Construction Group. We're out of Maryland, DC, Virginia, and we have a few women on staff who are just killing it. They're doing an awesome job, and I think anyone who is in denial about the fact that the women in the industry are having to push up against more resistance Anyone who thinks that is lying to themselves. And so my question to you guys is, how did you guys push through that resistance to get to where you are today? How did you summon that from yourself? And how can we pass that along to our female staff?
I mean, this is something we all kind of talked about for a few minutes before we all came up stage, because each one of us has a different story how it came out. I grew up in construction. I was a laborer for my dad, poured concrete, block, all that type of stuff. And he opened a secondary company and he called it D.H. Petig & Sons. And I remember from that moment that no matter what I did as a female, I was going to grow a business someday, be more successful than both of my brothers, and just take over and own some shit someday. I wanted to make sure that So I think you have to find it from within, right? So each one of those women that's in your office or the women that are out here, there is a story, there is a reason why you're here. Find out what your passion is and just drive with it, own it.
Well, and where's my dad at? Oh, he's not here.
Right here. He's right here to the left.
I mean, I was raised and he always told me I was never allowed to be a cheerleader. I was not allowed to cheer on the sidelines for guys when I could be out there doing it myself. So that was when I was really small. I was in advertising. I got laid off from Home Depot corporate down in Atlanta in 2008 and when the recession hit. And there was a big hailstorm that hit. So I never in a million years thought I was going to get into this industry, but I did. And I don't think it's, whether you're a female or a man, it is just the drive, the hustle. And there is obviously a lot of money to be made in this industry, but you really do just have to wake up every day and grind.
And I would say, to your point, Autumn, hustle. Work ethic is the #1 factor of my success in the industry. And I started out with a construction company called Hilti, like big tools, right out of college. And then I answered an ad in the Dallas Morning News for Elk Corporation, of old manufacturer, in 1994. And it has changed my life. And I have a sophomore in college who has been working in the roofing industry for a contractor for the last 2 years. And she sees how brilliant this industry is. And so my goal is to continue to expand not only women, but even young men to get into this industry because it is so lucrative, powerful, and just a great group of people.
Next question, John.
All right. Please give us your name, city, and who you're married to.
My name is Paul Reed. Northwest Roofing out of Denver, married to the beautiful Kimberly Reed on the panel here.
Yeah.
So a question for you ladies. It's actually a two-part question. Some of you ladies on the panel have younger daughters. Would you recommend them? Would you push them to become into this industry? It is a male-dominated industry. Would you recommend that they come in there? Second part of this question, how would you suggest that they come into this industry, learn what they need to learn, go from there? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Reed, I think I can possibly answer that question along with everybody else here because I do have a daughter who's 17. I love you. Would I want my daughter in this industry? Yeah, I wouldn't mind having her in it, but before I would let her step foot in it, I would expect her to learn every aspect. Yeah. Learn your craft and learn it well. Make sure you know as much as anybody out there in every area, and then push as hard as you can forward to make a name for yourself by working hard and outworking everybody else. Yep. Because if you do that and you stay focused, you're going to be successful. So that's what my answer.
I want to add to that, Kim. Yes, you have an amazing mom, by the way. Okay, I have a stepdaughter, and she's 17, and she is like headstrong, and she wants to do what she wants to do, and I encourage her to do whatever she has the passion for. And it's not every day that we wake up and go, "Yay, let's go sell roofs." Yet we're passionate about creating a successful legacy in life for us. I'm like, that's what me and my husband are up for. And so whatever she is passionate for, like, I'm just saying, like, it mostly is a male-dominated industry, whatever industry it is. And so, but whatever she wants, I got her back, I got you, I support you, and you can be whatever you want to be. Done. Yeah. Thank you. Why am I doing
I 100% encourage my daughter. She has worked the trade shows since she was like 12, 13 years old. She gets on a little hoverboard, rides around, passes out flyers.
Cute.
So I absolutely encourage her because that's how I started. I learned to tape measure roofs. I learned to navigate before GPS. So I was the co-pilot. And then my dad had me telemarket. He never let me sell a roof until I'd been in the business for 5 years. So I absolutely encourage you to let your daughters learn, but make sure they learn every single position from the bottom up. Yeah. Don't let them start at the top.
Well, we have a girl on a hoverboard here. Hold on.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, honey.
I wanted to ask, how do you get respect and like keep respect as women in a male-dominated industry?
That's a loaded question. I do it with qualifications. So I typically will make sure I am the most qualified person in the room. If I'm speaking as the roofer, I will announce my qualifications. I'm a state licensed Florida roofing contractor. I'm a state licensed Florida general contractor. I myself am the qualifier. I don't need a guy to do it. So if somebody starts to get aggressive with me, I get aggressive right back.
Yes.
But it's incredibly rare that somebody does get, 10% of guys might get, I guess,
I'm
not,
scared of you,
not
Brittany.
polite to
We're
women,
good. I'm
but
scared. I'm good.
90% of guys are right on board with us and encouraging. So
This is true.
And I was also taught showing genuine interest in learning about others. I think one of the reasons or ways that I've earned respect is genuinely caring about others and really wanting to learn about them, what they're motivated by, and how we can have a relationship together, our partnership.
All right, next question. State your name and your city, ma'am.
My name is Gianna Nicole. I am a media consultant for Win the Storm. And my question is for whomever would like to answer it. How do you guys, in your day-to-day life, in your business, in your guys' offices, in different kind of parts of this industry, go toe-to-toe with other men who may not give you the respect you've earned yet, right? Like who you may need to train to give you that respect. What are you doing to change people's perspective on your worth and your value in this industry?
work harder.
Be an expert in your field.
Stay ahead of the game. Just stay very educated so you always know, anything they could possibly ask, you've got the answer.
Education, surround yourself with people smarter than you, and never back down.
Yeah, I think it really boils down to, it's just, you always have to answer your phone. Like, you just always have to be, I don't know.
I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've come across a lot of men. I've had a general contractor license in Minnesota for 11 years, female-owned construction company. I push that. I strongly believe in honesty and always educating yourself and knowing more than the next person next to you.
And I follow the 4 agreements, so I think the biggest thing that I do, and I probably have to do it every day, is don't take anything personally.
Yes. For me, I want to give no excuses. Like, you're not going to have one excuse to say that I'm not qualified to be where you are, that I'm not smart enough to be where you are. Like, there's not going to be one crumb left behind. Like, I'm going to have all the checks on the boxes. Like, I'm good. Yeah. Done.
All right, name and where you're from.
All right, my name's Adam Sand. I'm from Canada, and I had to come ask this question because I own a construction company. I have 2 women in our company. If I could hire 10 more like them, I would never hire women again, or men again, sorry. I would always hire women because they're honestly, a lot of the things that you're saying, you know, they're willing to provide the value to the customer. They have the empathy and the emotional respect. I have a woman in my company who's done, I have to get this on video just so she hears me say it out loud, but she's done everything from labor all the way up to running crews, being a salesperson, doing repairs, managing customer service. She's done every role in the company. And like I said, if I could hire 10 more like her, I would not hire men again. And so everything I'm hearing you say on stage, from the 4 agreements, I live by that. The third lady in talking about slowing down to speed up, I always say stuff like that. Remaining educated, everything you're saying is like absolute fire for the industry. And there's 1,000 men that couldn't come up with the things that you 10 have said. And I would love to hear what you feel are some of the big transitions that are going to be coming, or changes that are going to be coming in the industry, given your respective roles in the industry, because I really do believe that for whatever reason, you're going to have insights that a lot of us guys aren't going to have, because we've got the blinders and the curse of knowledge, and frankly, sometimes the arrogance that we belong, and you're staying cutting edge.
What is the curse of knowledge?
I would say the thing that keeps me up at night is the possibility of roofs being sold online. I don't know how far away. I know there's a couple of companies who've tried it in the Northeast. I just think that we need to be prepared for, in the digital space, how our industry is going to be changing.
All right, next question. Oh, you have an answer? Go ahead.
Yes. I think for me, it's about the workflow. In our company, we've created in our CRM a certain workflow that needs to be followed, and based on that, within the communication, we even went so far that we're designing one of our back walls to have everybody's tasks and duties from each person in the company, from every role that they do throughout the whole entire phase. So we tried to make it so organized and detailed that you can't fail at your job. If you need help from somebody, you have the access to go to that person. If you have questions or concerns, who do you communicate to next? So I think that was our goal for 2019, to be more successful and more cutting edge, is by no matter what we're doing or where we're at in each job process, each person knows, so that at the end of the day, we're getting 100% customer satisfaction, because the entire team is one unit communicating and working together.
Awesome.
Well, and that goes back to, I mean, even SVGO, like Molly signed up her entire team with the virtual training. It's just being ahead of the game, you know, when you're recruiting and whatnot. Like having all of those training videos and just being on that, moving forward and pushing forward. Of course, you're going to have sales reps and people that want to come work for you over your competitors. And it's, you're going to retain them because of that.
Stacy, you have something?
Yes. I could not agree more. One of the biggest things that we focus in our company is process. So we have an extremely advanced CRM where every step that anyone has to do in our establishment, whether it's a male, female, production manager, new sales rep, there is a very detailed process where they know exactly what step they need to take next, what's going to be coming their way at some point, and there's no surprises. Our CRM is a big thanks to that, because it walks everyone through the right process where we know, hey, I'm going to put this contact in, and then I'm going to mark it, whether it's a, do not knock, we can send out a mailer, or it, we have the job ready to turn in. It's going to check minimums to see, hey, is this job profitable? What needs to be supplemented? Automatically populate our estimate down to our work orders, and just have everything so streamlined that it just takes away the element of surprise. It puts you ahead of the rest, and having the technology on your side, you always have an edge.
Love it. Love
I have one more thing to add, and I think disruption is important for any industry. Technology is absolutely booming in this industry. I talked to a lot of different companies that are at different levels. Some of you are using drones, some of you aren't, some of you are using thermal drones, different apps, different cameras, different softwares, video walls, all that good stuff. That's growing, and I think it plays a huge part in success.
And let me just add to that, but it all boils down to accountability. Like if you don't hold your team or your people accountable you could have all the training and everything in the world, but it's all about accountability and having that system and flow in place in order to hit that, that goal.
Hey, John, we have time for 2 more.
Ladies, my name is Nancy Giardini, and I'm at Northwest Roofing with Paul Reed, and I know Kim very well. I know. Oh, there's Brittany. Stacy, I want to go back to your CRM. What do you use?
We have a product. It's brought. It's available to the public now. It's through Swift Services. We worked and partnered with GiddyUp, and it's an extremely new, innovative look to a CRM and I love all CRMs, don't get me wrong. We've used them all. They're all fantastic. Everyone has their own niche of what they need out of a product. So for one product to work for everybody is impossible. So you need to really make out what you need from a product to get the right fit. But we kind of took our experience over the last 10 years of all these different platforms that don't usually communicate with each other. You know, you have one app for canvassing. You have one app for your estimates or, providing your supplements and all this communication. And you have one that's kind of like a big file dump for your database of all your attachments and job files. So we kind of collaborated and took basically 5 products that most companies were using and combined it into one. And now it's all integrated and they all actually communicate with each other. So whether or not you want to keep track of who you talk to in the streets through canvassing, if you want to redirect them through direct mailing, it's an option. So let's say there's a do not knock, which is very popular in Denver. If you've ever worked Denver, there's actually do not knock cities and neighborhoods, and it's registered through the town, and you don't want to get caught. Some places across the country, you can kind of like skeet in and be like, hey, I'm Stacy with Spartan, and they'll be nice, but you can actually mark this as a do not knock and send out a mailer that says, hey, I respect your privacy, and I wanted to reach out and kind of redirect them that way, or even through email. And a lot of automation is key with us because we focus on high volume in a very short time because we're seasonal, especially in Denver. We don't know, is it going to snow in October or February? When's it coming? So with our volume, we have our estimates automated in the field, in the palm of our hand. We have everyone communicating at the same time. We have all of our contacts on our phone. We have, the financials are in there. It's just kind of one hub for us to stay organized.
Love that.
Yes,
Thank you.
through GiddyUp, and it's very fast and efficient if you're trying to do those high volume storms.
Okay, I have one more question. Maybe for all of you, but how do we as women make more of this happen in our industry? Because I know when people ask me, what do you do? This is what I'm working on. I say a roofer, and then you get that look like, no, you're not, which I don't have any experience. Well, I've been doing this 18 months, so I'm getting educated. But Brittany, when you go, and if people don't know you, what is your elevator speech?
Love that.
Wow. It's been a long time where I walked into a room and somebody didn't already know who I was. So I guess generally people already know when I get there because I'm the contractor that's presenting before the board who I am. So it's kind of like, okay, they know who I am. Now I got to make sure they know that I'm competent at what I'm doing. So I always start with my qualifications, and I say I'm licensed in this, I'm licensed in this. I have a master's in finance, I have a master's in real estate. So now that we've assessed that I'm qualified to handle your claim, let's talk about our services. So I just start with I guess my qualifications first and then go from there. I don't think men necessarily have to start with their qualifications. They're just presumed because they're smart.
I think it's also just getting more involved, right? Like in previous years, even the Win the Storm conference, you'll have owners that are like, okay, I'm going to bring my sales manager, or my field trainer. The women in the office, 90% of the time, we're not coming to Win the Storm. And they are the women, we're not as loud as the men are in this industry, right? We just make shit happen behind the scenes. We don't need to be on stage or public and brag or toot our own horn. We just get shit done. So I think the first step is actually getting more women involved to Win the Storm, and every year, and getting them educated and out in the front lines, if you will. And I think that's a good start.
The women here network with each other. like no end. I can call any of these women if I have a problem and they answer the phone. You know, that's how I know Nancy. She walked up to me last year and, wanted to chat. But all of us will help each other much quicker than we will answer the phone. When we know it's one of the women up here, we're like, oh, she needs me.
True. All right, I've been known to give falseness. We have time for more questions, John. I apologize, sweetie. I lied to you. It's the only time I'll ever lie.
All right, we have somebody else here. Might be a son of somebody up there.
Hi, it's Ricky. I work at GLD Management. I had a question. Being female business owners and managers and such of companies, how do you feel the men in the industry support women? Good or bad?
Good.
Good.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Gina and I could have stories there, but I think if men empower the women around them, that's what it's all about. And then there's some of us that are just strong-minded women that don't, you just plow through that kind of mindset.
I say good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'd say for the most part, good.
I had
And if you have an experience that isn't the greatest, you just brush it off and you just keep going forward.
Yep.
That's all you can do. Not let it bother you and don't take anything personal, or you'll, it'll crush you.
Me and my husband had a conversation earlier, and we have an amazing business manager at our company, and she loves, she mentioned that he doesn't talk to her like she's a woman. Like, he talks to her like if she doesn't do the thing that he needs to get done, like, she's held accountable. And it's not like pacifying her because she's a woman. It's like, this is what the call of action is. And it's taken me a while to get used to that kind of language with him as my boss when when we go into business. But that's it. Like, it's it's business, and you don't have to like give me a pacifier, or pat me on the back and make it all look pretty. Like it's a certain way, because this is what the call of action is and what we need to do. So, yeah.
I feel like a lot of it's culture in your establishment. We focus a lot on our culture and having team players, people who back each other up. So if I remember whenever I started, the top people in our office was like, hey, come under my wing. Let me show you what I know, and it's because if you have the right culture, regardless of if you're a male or a female, your team's going to want to bring everyone up and support you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As a business owner, I have complete respect for our business manager. And she told me the other day, she says, hey, thank you for never making me feel like, I'm a girl or less than, or talk down to me. And I'm like, well, you're my teammate. And I think, women have to demand they are teammates. This is about a team. Everything is about being a team. And I took that as a great compliment from her, because, when I worked for Anthony, when I first got in the industry, I used to tell Autumn what to do all the time. Get my coffee. I'm joking. It's a joke. But I've evolved. I'm joking. All right, next question.
Well, let me just say something real quick, too. I do think it takes, the men have to recognize when they have a strong female that runs or works in their office. So with that being said, it means they have to support them, and they, right? Because if they go unnoticed and you just kind of take them for granted, that you're going to lose them. And the companies and that do appreciate and show that respect are some of the top companies in this industry that are doing very well, because they know damn well they need that person to really scale.
Good morning. My name's Dewey Gunnarsson, and I'm with Contractors Cloud, and we operate very similar as a roofing company with an admin, production, sales department. And for one reason or another, the females, the amazing women in our organization, hold the HR responsibilities. And my question is how do you convey your expectations to your employees, and how do you handle underperforming employees?
I'd love to. We make jokes throughout the year that I am like the HR queen as far as keeping everyone in line and
could see that.
Yeah, keeping everyone out of trouble and lawsuit, all that fun stuff. Kind of doing the that whole side of the company. And we set really high expectations for everybody. And there are some things that we're flexible on and some things that there's a zero tolerance for. And, you know, as long as you set these boundaries where you're not best friends with your staff, you're friends, you know, but they don't have the mentality where, hey, I went out and partied with you last night and I can do whatever the following day, you know. So I feel like anyone in management needs to have boundaries. And like I said, of course, be friends and supportive, but set the expectation from day one. Don't leave any confusion so anything can be misinterpreted. We have weekly sales meetings every Saturday morning to get people motivated, and we rehash on very important things like the HR topics, for example, or the changing situations in the storm, because storms, regardless of your market, change on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. So that's just something we always refresh, and make sure that they know the expectations before any problems can even arise.
Love it.
I think HR is kind of an issue in all of our offices, right? We're with a bunch of men all day, so the HR comment comes up quite a bit.
I'm sorry.
But for some odd reason in our office, we have like the same thing that you're saying, the expectations, the descriptions. Communication is key. I mean, you can always win and understand each other if you're communicating, right? So there's always a common boundary, a common accountability, as long as you're communicating. And the culture thing I think that you keep talking about is what's really strong in our office. Our culture, if you don't fit, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, even though we have a few other management in our office that are males, I had to fire 4 people last year that didn't fit the culture. So it's one of those fine lines too about HR when it comes to when is the right time, how to do it, and knowing to hire slowly, good people, same like-minded that fit the culture, and then get rid of the people too that don't fit the culture fast.
We have another question. I want to make a comment. I feel like men in this industry, if we were to use the word catty, are far more catty than women in the industry than men. I mean, would you agree?
Allegedly.
Like, allegedly. Hold on one second.
My name is Eduardo Stanley from Charlotte, North Carolina, Renault Restoration Company. My question is for the young lady in the blue shirt, because you climb roofs. What are some things, and it's a 2-part question, what are some things to get women to, I guess, build the courage to do that? And then the second thing, what are some safety measures that you would suggest, you know, for canvassing and things of that nature? Because obviously, I feel like a lot of women may stay away from it because it's the safety part of it, right?
You go in teams. So if you take 3 or 4 women together, they do phenomenal. Now, my teams are typically made up of like 1 girl and 3 guys, or 2 girls and 2 guys, because I want a very good balance. And, you know, just stay together in a team, and that takes care of the safety issue. And it's the safety issue, but it's also a dog biting issue. So if you're canvassing, you got to watch out for that, and multiple people in your team is the way to do it. And in response to the office cattiness, just have a zero tolerance policy for it. The next person who calls me is being terminated. Do you 2 understand? Okay, we're clear. Let's move on. So I don't tolerate cattiness at all. I have a zero. I don't care if you've been with me 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. You will go out the door the moment that you are coming to me complaining about another person. If you're telling me they're doing a bad job and you have facts as to how they did a bad job, I can handle that conversation. But if you're coming to me to talk to me that they were 15 minutes late, or, you know, they talk, just the female cattiness, cut it and just be done with it. That's not something that has a place in the workplace.
And I was talking about the industry guys. There's a lot of competition between these guys out here jumping on each other. But you ladies all get along, stand strong, are good representatives of the business and the industry. So it's positive.
You're doing great out there, baby, just so you know. Yeah. Is there any more questions? I want to thank y'all so much.
We have one
we
more
do?
coming up.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Jacquelina Jablonski. I'm from Chicago. I'm also an owner of a roofing company.
Can you speak up, hon? I can't hear you.
Sorry. Jackie Jablonski. I'm from Chicago. I own a roofing company as well, and a management company as well. How do you deal with sexist comments or objections in this industry?
that's a good one. Hashtag all of us too.
HR's every day, right?
I personally just ignore it and move right on, because once you just ignore it and move right on, the guy kind of feels like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Maybe it was cool if I was out with all my guys, but it wasn't really cool in front of her. So that's how I deal with it. I just kind of ignore it and move on.
I believe in not really even letting that situation start if it's in your control. You know, if you have someone in the office or another business partner that's like, oh, hey, baby, well, my name is Stacy, nice to meet you, and just kind of cut it off right away. That's happened throughout the years. Oh, come here, beautiful. I'm Stacy with Spartan. You know, just kind of nip it right away and don't let the baby name start. Don't let the comments even begin from day one.
I got really clear that how I behave as a human, like just I'm a loving person. I want to hug people. I want to joke with you. I want to poke you. I want to, hey, like that's just who I am. And I got really clear that that is not necessarily received on the opposite end from a male point of view as just banter and friendship. It's perceived as like, hey, can I have like, oh, you want me? I'm like, no, dude, I don't. But I can own that. Like I was that blind, and like so I had to get really clear of like when you said, Stacey, like the boundaries of it. Like, yo, I'm Shannon. I don't hug you anymore. Shake your hand. I ain't going to lunch with you. I'm not doing any of those things. So I'm not giving the opportunity for the perception to be that I have any interest in you, and that's sad because I'm missing out on a lot of cool friends. Yeah, I just can't do it. Like, yeah, done.
All right, one more question. We'll wrap it up.
Hi, good morning. I have a really quick question. My name is Shane. I spoke a little bit the other day, but this is really, really important to me. I started my business with a fellow acquaintance, a male figure, and that I knew was successful to his own degree. But as partners, we failed. Like we just bombed. The minute we separated and I took my wife in, I talked her in. I had to force her into this position. She did not want to do this. She's a physical therapist for 18 years, has a passionate personality. I'll tell you what, we have turned a corner that I never expected the minute she stepped into that role. But now, what we are looking for some advice, some kind of insight, is how do we create a company that is attractive to more women in the industry?
Okay. I would say just by her self-branding, be on social media, post a video. I like to do videos in the office. If I have an extra 10, 15 minutes floating around, I'll step outside, usually to get some warmth because the guys keep it like 10 degrees in our office, but I'll step outside and just say, hey, I'm Stacy with Spartan, and today we're going to talk about whatever the case may be. And you can actually redirect it if you do Facebook ads. Like whenever the hailstorm hit, I did a lot of videos on impact-resistant shingles, and it gained a following from friends and other people in the industry, but then also we could use that same video to redirect and target through Facebook ads and things of that nature. So if your wife is your partner, which my husband and I are partners with Spartan, we're 50-50 and everyone thinks that we're crazy because
nice plug.
That is, yes. Just putting yourself out there, self-branding yourself so people know, hey, if your wife's on Facebook, for example, or Instagram or YouTube, that they can reach out to her for help. And I have a huge female following on Facebook, and what people think is unique is I like to help other contractors. Like, it's really weird. If I'm talking about something, I'll say, hey, message me if you need this form or this document. Like, I love to help people. So if she has any sort of social media presence, she'll gain a following, and then other women will realize, hey, you're nice, you're helpful, and they'll want to come be a part of your organization.
And she's passionate, you said. So sometimes, like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not like passionate about roofing, okay? Like, it's not like in my body to be like, yeah, let's go do roofing. Yet I'm passionate about my relationship with my husband and my family. And so that creates the energy, right, for me to show up and like post stuff about it. Like that's where it's at. So I feel like if she just like that's all it is. It's like she's
Yeah,
got
her passion will bring other women. I mean, once she shows that, it's going to attract other people. That's what when you're passionate about something, it reflects to everybody. So, like Stacy said, put her on social media. You know, have her say something there because that shows other women, and then they see that and they want to be involved. They want to be a part of it. It looks exciting to them, and they see they can break that barrier and get there. So.
I love it. I am passionate about each one of these women who, some of them I've known for years, some of them I just met, and they inspire me. I'm grateful for all of you that stayed and listened to our first women's panel at Win the Storm. Yes. Thank you, Paul. Look, yeah. Autumn, will you give them the details about the women's brunch that's happening?
Yeah, so we will be meeting downstairs at 12:45 for all of the ladies, no men allowed, that are going to be going to the brunch. So I have a couple of limo buses that will pick us up downstairs. So be there at 12:45, down like right when you walk in the lobby, and then we will go have some fun, ladies.
Ladies, thank y'all so much, and thank you guys. Yes, bye.
Wow, great job, ladies. Great job. You professional, entrepreneurial, amazing women. And you too, Autumn. All right, guys.